Okay, is it public? Yes. Hello, everyone.
Today did this experiment where they placed 18 people in a room. 17 of those people were actually CIA agents, and one of them was just an unwitting member of the public. So imagine they pick you, you think that you're going into a room with 17 other people who are from the street just like you, but in reality, those 17 other people are agents and they are conducting an experiment on you. So the person that was running the experiment showed every single person in the room a picture of a triangle. It was very clearly a picture of a triangle, and he asked every person in the room to simply state what they saw on the picture. Well, despite it clearly being a triangle, all of the agents were instructed to say square. So
Okay, I'm just gonna pause it for now. Yeah, so this stream is just, there was a couple of things she touched on that I wanted to actually listen to, but I haven't actually watched this video first yet, so. And I have no idea if it'll get taken down or anything like that, so we'll just wait and see. But she had mentioned something on Pierce Morgan to do with something I found kind of weird to do with, I think her name is Bridget Macron. I don't know. But we'll see
you're
what.
in this room, 70 other people, you think
I have
that
no idea when
you're
she
all off
gets
on the side
into
of
it
the
though,
street,
so.
and they start going around, and everyone says, "Oh, what is that? A square, a square. What do you see? A square, a square, a square, a square." Well, by the time it gets to you, and you're the 18th person, you're going,
I have no
"Oh,
idea how
am
loud
I
it is,
crazy? I
so.
see a triangle." And guess what that 18th person said? Well, they said square because they didn't want to be the crazy person in the room. Really think about the implications of that experiment. That is exactly how the media works. They are the agents in the room that are repeating square, 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 square until you're supposed to just completely abandon reason and just join them and say, yeah, no, totally. That's a square. That's what I see too, even though you know that's completely not true. And the reality is, the majority of people do this today because you don't want to think that you're crazy. When you look back at COVID and you see everybody wearing the masks and 6 feet social distancing and all of this stuff that was so clearly absurd, people fell in line because they just thought, I don't want to be the crazy person. I don't want to be the anti vaxxer. I don't want to be called insane. I can't think of a greater modern example going on right now of that experiment than the Brigitte Macron story. It is an absurdity. There is an overwhelming amount of evidence. And Emmanuel Macron is married to a biological male. I know that sounds crazy. And it sounds crazy especially because the mockingbirds in media.
Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to listen to. I have no idea if it's true or not, so. But let's see what kind of evidence she actually lays out. As I have not looked at anything to do with this at all. In fact, I don't even care, but was just interested to see what she had to say about it, as she's the only one I think actually have heard even mention anything to do with it. So
Are just refusing to debunk it. Instead, they're just trying to tell you that, yep, well, you guessed it, it's a square. Well, it's obviously a woman. Don't ask any more questions. Yeah, jogging your memory to Piers Morgan last week, trying to make me say that it was a square. Take a listen. Why don't you go pursue a primary source? Why don't you
I
go
don't need to,
find the
because actually,
articles
as
that
you
were
know,
written
there
by
is
the
a.
French journalists? Because this did not come from me. This came from French journalists.
I
And
know,
while
but
they
as
were
you know,
working,
Brigitte
wait,
Macron is
let me
suing.
finish a statement, Piers.
Okay.
While they were working on this piece, the Macrons sent their secret service to interrupt this. This is not a normal thing that you do when somebody's about to publish a lie. You would just say it's ridiculous, publish it, and we'll dispute it. They sent the secret service to intimidate these journalists. They took their phones, they held them, they wanted to know everyone who was working on the piece, and what they uncovered was absolutely fascinating. If he's trying to tell you this is crazy, this is wacky, why don't you just go pursue a primary source?
Well, I don't
I'm
need
not the
to.
primary source. It would be very easy to dispute this. All Brigitte Macron would have to do is produce a single photo of her in the first 30 years of her life, or to
Yeah.
go on a little walk with
Actually,
her brother, who she alleges that she is not. So that's incredible. He's saying, no, I haven't even looked at the story. I have not pursued a primary source because that's not the task of a mockingbird.
All right, well, let's just take a quick look at I don't know how to spell her name, Brigitte Macron. Let's look at images first. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't really. The pictures really don't show anything with that. so is that supposed to be her brother? Hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
He is supposed to just say what the state wants the public to think. And in this case, they just want you to think that it's crazy. Hence, Barry Weiss, formerly of the New York Times, when she tweeted a celebratory tweet about me being fired from the Daily Wire, she actually wrote an entire article. And she tweeted this. Take a look. It says, and this piece doesn't even touch on her truly bat views about Brigitte Macron. That it took the Daily Wire this longest ever ties with Candace Owens is alarming. Oh, there goes another one of the words. This is alarming. This is truly bat insane. Again, psychological. That's just her trying to say to the public, don't even look at that. That is so crazy that I couldn't even take the time to simply debunk it. And it's a very easy thing to debunk. This is the job of the mainstream media. And this is something that you are going to have to tether yourself to. You're going to have to tether yourself to the reality that they are constantly making psychological gains.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure unless she actually showed some kind of evidence instead of just statements. I mean, she's the one making the claim. So unless she actually like shows evidence aside from the picture I just looked at.
By trying to convince you that crazy is sane and sane is crazy. So let me tell you about this Brigitte Macron story and how I came across it. Because like I told Piers Morgan, no, of course, this did not come from me. Why would I just be sitting around as an American citizen being like, I wonder if I could look into a French conspiracy theory? Of course not. I was actually just reading the Daily Mail one day, and I saw a headline about how Emmanuel Macron was absolutely furious about these rumors. And I was like, what rumors? I haven't even heard about anything. And then I stumbled upon quite a pretty big situation that has been going on in France, in that it has gotten so big that, yes, Macron has been tasked now with going out to the public and trying to dissuade them from believing that his wife, Brigitte Macron, was actually born a man. Now, of course, when I saw the headline, I agreed. I was like, yeah, that is absolutely insane. Let me read this article real quick. And the article stipulated that there was a theory. And immediately, in reading the article, my mockingbird senses came on. I realized that the article itself was also not debunking anything, and this should be a very easy thing to debunk. Rather, they were just doing what Barry Weiss was doing, what Piers was doing, and just saying it was crazy. Now, in this article, they had only 2 photos embedded as proof that Brigitte Macron ever lived as a woman for the first 30 years of her life. Here are the 2 photos. I'm going to show them to you. Here's the first photo. And they basically were just like, look at cute little Brigitte Macron sitting on her mother's lap. And instantly, I promise you, I hadn't even looked into the primary source of the story. And I said, well, that's weird, because Brigitte looks to me like the person on the far left. That is Brigitte's whole face. I mean, you looking at this? I mean, if you're listening to this in a podcast, do go find it on YouTube thereafter. But I went, no, that actually, the person on the lap doesn't look anything like Brigitte. Whatever. Then I looked at photo 2 that they presented, and I went, wait, Brigitte's quite old. This does not look like a photo that is that old. This actually looks like a new photo that was just turned into black and white. Whatever, I put it in the back of my mind. I decided to go pursue the primary source, and I was shocked at what I stumbled upon. You guys, This was not some Reddit conspiracy theory. This was not some people sitting around with tinfoil hats being like, let's just make up a rumor about the First Lady of France. No, far from that.
Well,
This was
it
a
is
story that
theory
was
until
worked
proven.
on for 3 years by journalists, which was eventually published in a 6-part series in a publication known as Fait et Documents. Xavier Poussard worked on the story, Natasha Ray worked on the story, and they crossed hands with genealogists who worked on this story. So again, no, this was not some random conspiracy theory. This was 3 years of hard work. And what they determined was that Brigitte Macron did not exist for the first 30 years of her life. Listen to what I'm saying to you. There is no proof that this human being existed for 30 years. It's a very easy thing to debunk, guys. Okay? Very easy thing to debunk. If somebody came at me and said, Candace Owens, you did not exist for the first 30 years, I'd be like, what are you Here's my high school yearbook. Here's my middle school yearbook. Here's me and the homies standing outside with too thin eyebrows because that was the style when I was in high school. Here's me, a picture of me cheerleading. Here's me when I played the flute for 6 months. Here's me and my sisters. It's such a nonsense that I would instead send out people to call it crazy without giving them 30 years worth of proof to debunk it. Let's not forget, Brigitte Macron also has 3 kids. I can show you photos of me pregnant. Oh, here's me in the hospital when we had our first child. They're not doing any of that. Instead, what they did, as you just heard me say on Piers Morgan, is they sent the Secret Service out to intimidate the journalists. Yeah, while Natasha Ray was working on the story, she was getting
That part
close.
sounds a little weird,
She
for sure.
realized that there was one woman that she should question. Well, this woman happens to still be friends with Brigitte Macron, and she alerted the Macrons to the fact that journalists were working on this story. And so the Secret Service showed up at Natasha Ray's home, detained her, intimidated her, took her phone, wanted to know who else was working on the story. This is simply not something you do when you are telling the truth. And by the way, they're still doing it. Natasha was the first victim, but not the last. There was also a journalist for a Parisian liberal establishment publication called Le Nouvel Obs, who jumped on the story because she thought this is insane. It's going to be very easy for me to debunk it. And obviously, Brigitte is in fact a woman. And guess what happened? That journalist could not debunk the story. She too was amazed at what she was discovering. And then she too was tracked down by the Secret Service. So what is this theory that the state is working so hard to protect? What is this secret, rather, that they're working so hard to protect? I'm going to tell you what it is that the journalists are alleging. And I think it's a very credible allegation. Let's get back to that first photo, okay? Their theory is that Brigitte Macron was actually born Jean-Michel Trogneau. That is the person that you are seeing in this photo here on the far left. That would make, if in fact that was Brigitte Macron, that would make her 8 years older than she is currently presenting herself to the public. They are alleging that Brigitte lived as Jean-Michel Trogneau for 30 years and then she transitioned. And I will tell you, the theory is credible for a ton of reasons. The first one being is that they were able to pull together a string of interviews where Brigitte Macron seemingly doesn't know her own age. As just one example, in one video that Natasha Ray had uncovered, Brigitte was giving an interview and she was recalling having lived alone in the United States during the moon landings in 1969. Well, that's the thing what they say, or I should say Judge Judy says this about lying. She's like, if you lie, you have to have a good memory. If you don't lie, you don't have to have a good memory. And it turns out that Brigitte perhaps does not have the best memory because she would have been 16 at that time. So for her to say that she was living alone in the United States, what was she doing at the age of 16 living alone in the United States? You're not allowed to do that. Jean-Michel, on the other hand, Jean-Michel Trogneau, the journalists are alleging that Brigitte lived as, well, he would have been 24 years old at that time. That would make more sense. And I'm giving you one example. There are multiple examples where they have found in interviews that it seems that Brigitte just does not know her own age. Of course, you're probably thinking rationally, you're coming online, you're going, okay, well, where's Jean-Michel? Brigitte alleges that that's her older brother. Well, guess what, guys? He's missing. The genealogists basically looked through, I mean, your entire life, obviously. You're creating data everywhere when you're getting married and when you're going to get IDs. The genealogists can trace you existing. So what they determined was that for 30 years, her brother, Jean Michel Trogneau, existed. They found tons of evidence that this individual existed. And then right at the same time that Brigitte Macron suddenly comes into the public sphere, Jean Michel goes missing. Now you have Brigitte and her brother is missing. And you know what, guys? You would think, why don't you just go on a walk with your brother? If this is the rumor that is driving you crazy, why don't you just walk out with your brother and do a press conference and be like, hey, conspiracy theories are bad. Okay? They are very stressful and they are hurtful to my family. Here is my brother, Jean Michel Trogneau. No, they can't do that. He's just simply missing, guys. And you're crazy to even ask for her to simply show where her brother's been since she was magically born into the public sphere at the age of 30.
Well, unless he doesn't already
Now let's go back to that second photo that I showed you that the Daily Mail had embedded into their article. The one that I just instantly, without even having looked into the story, said, that looks too new. I mean, Brigitte's pretty old.
That's probably the best photo I'm going to get of them pretty close side by. Yeah, that's not a good photo. Okay, let's try it again. It's not doing anything. And I'd be curious to know who yeah, can't take a picture with my phone like that. That's not gonna work. Photo. I wonder if it would be under Daily Mail. No, it's not there either. All right, so how about Brigitte Macron? children, spouses. She was 8 years old when her sister, Maribon Tragnol, died in a car accident with her husband in 1961. His older brother? This is supposed to be her brother, I think. Another of his. I wonder if somebody's been messing around with this. Is a chocolatier based in Place Notre Dame in the city center of Amiens, France, run by Genesis. Okay, well, there's that picture. So that would be, so older siblings, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's who they're thinking it is, that there. His 2 brothers and sisters are John, Michelle, and Anne-Marie.
Olds, no matter which way you slice it.
That's interesting.
Well, they were able to determine that that's actually a recolorized photo of her daughter, Tefon. I'm going to show you a side by side here. It is very obviously Tefon. So you're telling me the media gets onto the story, and as a way to debunk it, you accidentally present a photo of your daughter and recolorize it into black and white? Again, you guys, this is not normal. The press doesn't even pretend that that is Brigitte anymore, by the way. They're like, oh, that was just a mistake. Oh, yeah, that's Tefon. So you're probably wondering, okay, but Candace, Brigitte has kids, 3 kids. How is that possible? Well, you already know how that's possible, you guys. We live in the age of transgenderism. Caitlyn Jenner is a transgendered individual who has fathered children, and that is what they are alleging Brigitte did. That Brigitte at first fathered her 3 children and then transitioned into a woman. And this theory is further backed up by photos. When I tell you they were this in depth, and the journalists and then the larger French public all got involved in trying to figure out who, in fact, Brigitte was for the first 30 years of her existence. They even found a series of photos of when Brigitte was a teacher, and she chose to bizarrely cover her neck with a scarf for virtually an entire year. And they're like, this is the exact time that Brigitte got the Adam's apple surgery. It is that detailed. You absolutely must look into this story. Even if you can't wrap your head around the fact that the state could lie like this, that Emmanuel Macron could lie like this, that they could continue to gaslight the French public like this. Well, there's some other things that should have immediately let you know that
Yeah, I don't
something's
know
not
if it's
right in this
actually
relationship.
gaslighting.
How about the story of how they got together? Like I said on Piers Morgan, at best, you are looking at a scenario where Brigitte Macron is a pervert. The story and how they got together is that Brigitte alleges that she was a teacher and Macron was this 14, 15-year-old student that she was attracted to. What? Yeah, and they just struck up a relationship. She says at the time that she was married with 3 kids and made the decision to divorce and leave her husband for a 14-year-old boy. Does that register to you as a normal situation? And then guess what, guys? You're gonna find this to be insane. But then you would go, okay, well, let's just talk to Brigitte's ex-husband. Yeah, well, when Emmanuel Macron won the election, some journalists around the world were trying to track down the now First Lady's ex-husband, and they couldn't find him. Nope, without a trace. Could not find this man anywhere. They were like, hey, yeah, where's your ex-husband? And they kept going, oh, no, he's extremely private. He's extremely private. And then one day to phone, Brigitte's daughter just randomly announces, as journalists began going, oh, this is really weird. Where is your dad? That he died and they chose to cremate him in a private ceremony. Don't ask any questions. Yep, dead. Can't find a trace of him. Can't find proof that he ever existed, but he's now dead and don't ask any questions. You guys, this is just, well, to put it like Barry Weiss, bat insane. It's so easy for someone to just produce a shred of evidence that this individual existed for the first 30 years of her life. Don't let them make you think that you're the crazy one, okay? It's a triangle, my friend.
Well, I don't think the burden of proof is on them, though. Because, as the saying goes, extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. And the problem is a lot of coincidences and a lot of speculation, but I'd be skeptical to actually say that it's 100% legitimate. Yeah, a lot of weird shit to do with it. But unless somebody can actually dig up like proof, because when someone makes a claim, it's not on the person that it's being claimed on to bring up the proof. It's on the person making the claim to make the proof. As suspicious as some of the evidence makes this out to be,
It is not a square.
sadly, that's just the way it
The
is.
lesson in all of this is that the state, through decades of psychological research, institutes that were dedicated to seeing how us, the public, the general public, would respond to certain things, they were able to determine that you are much more likely to believe a big lie rather than a small one. Because your brain just goes, oh, well, there's no way this could be a lie. It's so big. It's like when you hear those stories and you're like, how did this woman not know that her husband had an entire family? Well, because you would think you're crazy to believe that your husband was traveling and started an entire family. The lie is so big that you're actually not likely to believe it. So when the state lies, they lie big. And you've got to be willing to be the person in the room. You got to be willing to be like me, because I'm telling you, if the CIA had me in that room,
I don't do it like that.
I would be like, are you guys crazy? It's a freaking triangle. You guys need to get your heads checked. Why are you all saying square? You got to be bold like that, you guys. Trust your gut. Your gut is God given. And on that note, you guys, I am very excited for the summer because I am making sure that I continue to stay consistent in my routines, especially my prayer routine.
Yeah, I don't know. Even the whole gut thing. Yeah, you can have a gut feeling on something, but all that does is it enforces what you're already thinking. It doesn't enforce or prove external of that. So that's where the challenge comes in. So yeah, to actually make a claim like that, I mean, hey, maybe it is possible, but it's hard to say for sure. I wouldn't just jump on the bandwagon and say that it's true, because I mean, you just don't know. Although I think Candace does do some good work, I don't know. It's just you can't overreach without the extraordinary proof needed to back up the extraordinary claim. Like I said, it could be possible, but I wouldn't just think that that's the case. 1 second. All right, I'm back. Uh, oh no, yeah, he did an interview with Trump, but it wasn't that long. Modern day debate. Hermes Gasparini, Devin Lorette, John Brzenk, and Gennady Kvitvinia. I think Disney's lost touch already. Can't believe they're doing some of the shit that they're doing. This guy's got a good attitude. He's actually hilarious to watch sometimes, especially when he does his public live walkarounds and stuff like that. Tommy Lauren, Brian Tyler Cohen. Yeah, the problem is I just can't stand listening to Jank. The guy is just a complete tool. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's much going on around here. Twenty 2024 has already had more video game industry layoffs than all of 2023, and it's only June. Okay, that didn't look like it actually changed anything. See what's happening on Twitter, or X, not Twitter. Oh, that Nick, I tell you. I'm actually not quite sure about my opinion on the Pope. I haven't actually looked into that guy yet. What in the hell is that? I don't know, but that's creepy as fuck. I think you're just playing around with her. I don't know why. Big improvements to advertising. Goblin humor. Yeah, Mark Cuban's a weirdo. Yeah, of course, he doesn't actually tag anybody. He just posts a screenshot. This kind of looks like a fuck around to find out moment. Can't understand what they're saying though, so. Of course, they only show him giggling. They don't actually show what he said. Activists break into a UK weapons manufacturer that makes weapons for Israel. This is real activism, not blocking traffic. Well, no, that's not real activism. That's a crime. I don't know how you could actually call that activism. Public square. Which plan will grow the middle class? Asking the ultra wealthy to pay a bit more to deliver. Well, except it's not a bit more. This is just hilarious when they do shit like this. They don't actually say Pierre's plan. They just state nonsense. And ultimately, if you cut taxes for the wealthiest, that means stuff is going to be cheaper for the rest of us. Except what they do here is they want everybody to pay more so they can fund more. Like they don't have enough of our fucking money. They push this a lot too. I'm wondering if there's a reason. I haven't actually looked into this, so I don't know, but I wonder if there's actually a reason he hasn't gone for this skill, although he shouldn't have to get security clearance to actually get the information. I know what that's about, but well, the government should do less. What's he actually saying here?
Pierre Poilievre pense que la priorité d'un gouvernement devrait être d'en faire moins pour les gens. Son seul plan, c'est l'austérité. C'est de faire des coupures. It's a new version of the same old trickle-down economics plan that has never worked. Cut the programs that Canadians rely on. Stoke the flames of division and continue to spread disinformation and distract Canadians from the choice before them in the next election. But the choice couldn't be clearer, my friends. A liberal government means building on a plan that is delivering real, positive results for Canadians, growing the economy, making government work for working people, and creating fairness for every generation. Pierre Poilievre pense que la priorité d'un gouvernement devrait être d'en faire moins pour les gens.
Actually, I won't change the title.
C'est de faire des coupures. It's a new version of the same old trickle-down economics plan that has never worked. Cut the programs that Canadians rely on. Stoke the flames of division.
Yeah, of course. Blah, 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 blah. Don't they realize that cutting some of those programs will also lower taxes for the rest of us? It's always the way it is with the fucking liberals. take more, take more, take more, but they never want to actually stop taking. Yeah, maybe I'll actually change the title. If I can. There,
Fond of making inflammatory statements. He called our system of early learning and childcare a slush fest. He called co-op housing Soviet-style housing. And he called brave Ukraine dismissively a faraway land. But he is silent on one issue, and that is tax fairness. Tomorrow, he's not going to be able to dither anymore. Every single conservative is going to have to take a stand. We'll see what they really believe. Here, here. The conservative leader is fond of making.
yeah, these guys are. Actually, I guess a lot of people are like that, but it'd be nice if they actually just tagged the person so you could actually click right over to them. No, the Oilers actually pulled out a win. I wonder if they'll come back. I don't actually follow it, so I'm not quite sure, but documents obtained by CBC News reveal that U.S. government officials have discussed trade sanctions against Canada over what one official described as Quebecian language Bill 90. Filed what? Filed bearer trust. I have notifications, but I'm not quite sure what these people will actually respond with, so I can't open them to see. Otherwise, I could get the stream taken down. Holy crap, that dog is shiny. What? I have no idea what that's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. All about Israel. Oh, what the hell? Wonder what the hell brought that on. Of course, don't actually get the full thing of it, but
So at that time, I, along with a group of friends, we would go out on the street and just meet with people and pray with people and offer them food. And this lady came to us and she had these tumors. I mean, she wanted us to like feel them. And I just remember I put my hand on her and my hand just began to move. And the lumps that were there were no longer there. And she was so happy and she like went on about her day. And I never saw her again.
So you think the tumors disappeared?
I do. And this woman was unhoused. She's someone who, had been sleeping in the shelters and sleeping on the street. If I can speak a prayer and I can believe what I believe and you believe that this will help you, then why not offer that to people? Because I know prayer has helped me.
As a trained nurse, you're a member of the medical community. How do you think about those spiritual healings versus medical healings?
Yeah. Spiritual healing is a part of what you believe, and the medical healing it's a similar thing because I'm going to believe that this treatment that this doctor is giving.
everybody just hammering Chuck Schumer for the post he made about him barbecuing and having a thick slice of cheese on a uncooked burger. Yeah, all right. I think that's the end of the stream. At least for right now. All right. Well, see you on the next stream. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.